Today we have the all-new Nissan Z NISMO. In this video, I'll talk about what the new NISMO is, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it. Now, the new Z debuted in 2021, and for 2024, we received this, more performance-oriented, or as Nissan claims, track-focused NISMO. Since this is the first time we're covering the new Z, let's quickly talk about some technical aspects.
The new Z is built on Nissan's FM platform, which dates back to early 2000s, and while it was obviously improved over time, the concept remained the same. The engine is located behind the front axle centerline to get the weight off of the front suspension and provide better weight distribution. We get double wishbone setup up front and multi-link in the back, combined with conventional dampers. Now let's talk about the NISMO. From the design standpoint, it has new front and rear fascias which not only look better, but also improve airflow to the engine, generate more downforce, and eliminate lift. The suspension tuning is more track-focused with stiffer spring rates and larger retuned dampers. We also get race rims wrapped in high-performance Dunlop GT600 tires, bigger Akebono brakes with semi-track pads, and Recaro bucket seats.
The twin-turbo V6 received a 20 horsepower bump and extra 34 pound-feet of torque, meaning now it's pushing 420 horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque. I hope you like automatic transmissions because unlike in the predecessor, which was offered with a 6-speed manual, the new NISMO gets a 9-speed automatic only. Now, before we talk how it all works together and what it's like to drive the new Z, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space.
Now, the cabin of the new Z is a mixed bag. On one hand, I can't rave how much I appreciate the simplicity and old-schoolness of this interior, but on the other, it looks like Nissan is cleaning up their warehouses by using those archaic door handles or switches. I understand that interior quality is secondary in a sports car, but the way I look at it is the Z, even in the NISMO variant, will most likely be your all-around vehicle, and if you spend over 65 grand, you want to be in a nice space, and the one in the Z feels cheaped out. Getting in and out isn't the easiest thing, but once you sit in the front Recaros, you will appreciate their fantastic support and how comfortable they are for bucket seats, so driving in those doesn't feel like you have to sacrifice. Generally speaking, being in the Z isn't punishing. The interior space is decent, and if you compare it to its natural rival, the Supra, it feels roomier and less claustrophobic. You get a decent amount of storage in the door pockets and center console, and opening the hatch unveils pretty spacious for this type of car trunk.
So, that was the interior of the new Z. Let's get it on the road now and see how it drives.
Now, in the beginning, I mentioned that the Z is built on a platform that dates to early 2000s, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing since A, this architecture has been improved over years, and B, it makes the NISMO an old-school driver's car with great inputs and feedback, something that's missing in many modern sports cars. Sadly, I wasn't able to take the Z to the racetrack, but my favorite back road gave me some understanding of what this thing is capable of. First, it's quite impressive how well balanced and stable the NISMO is. There's no disconnect between the front and the rear of the car, the body control is great, and despite suspension being on the stiffer side, the bumpy surface on my favorite back road wasn't upsetting the car too much. The steering is excellent, providing great feedback and precision with its ratio being just the way it should be. Not too quick, feeling natural, and allowing you to do nice mid-corner corrections. Same when it comes to brakes, which are touchy, but once you get used to them, you will appreciate their progressiveness and feedback. The twin-turbo V6 is another strong aspect of the Z. It delivers power in a super smooth manner, there is virtually no turbo lag, and you get plenty of mid-range torque, which you will appreciate at corner exits. And guess what? There is no fake engine noise. Love it. Now, something you may not love is the fact that the NISMO comes only with a 9-speed automatic. It has been a subject of controversy and received mixed reviews, so let's talk about it, starting with what's good first. When you have it in the Sport Plus mode exclusive to the NISMO, it does an auto upshift in manual mode and changes gears very quickly. It's not PDK or ZF8 HP levels of responsiveness, but I can't complain. What sucks about it is logic in the auto mode, which is far from perfect. I understand that when you're ripping the car on the racetrack or a back road, you're in manual mode, but if you're in the most aggressive mode and the transmission shifts to the 9th at 60 miles an hour, something ain't right. Also, be careful exiting corners in Sport Plus mode. The shifts are so abrupt and aggressive that the car loses traction and the rear end becomes twitchy and unstable, requiring you to make corrections. Take a look. Not ideal. Now, chances are that the NISMO is going to be your daily, so you might wonder what it's like to drive it on a daily basis. Well, as long as you don't mind stiff suspensions, you'll be fine. While the ride quality over broken pavement is far from perfect, it's not unbearable. The cabin isn't super noisy, and traveling at highway speeds doesn't feel like a punishment. You get all the driver assistance features, including adaptive cruise control, and the whole drivetrain is very smooth in the standard mode. So that was the new Z NISMO. With everything we covered, let's jump to the final thoughts. The new NISMO Z gave me a headache, and not from its suspension stiffness, but I have mixed feelings about it. Here's how I look at it compared to its main rival, the Supra. From the driving dynamics perspective, the NISMO is more connected to the road and is a better driver's car. The Toyota feels more synthetic and more like a GT rather than a track tool. It's more refined, rides much better thanks to the adaptive suspension, has better tech, but also comes with a 6-speed manual, something missing in the NISMO. Granted, Toyota and BMW had much bigger budget to develop the platform for the Supra, whereas in the case of the Z, they had to work with old architecture and didn't have as much money to refine and redesign the manual gearbox from the regular Z. If I were to choose between those two, I would lean towards the Supra as it's a better overall car and a better value proposition. You can get a nicely equipped Toyota for about $61-ish thousand, whereas the Nissan will set you back at around $65K. However, if you can sacrifice some luxury amenities and want to have a great track toy that is easier to drive on the limit, the answer will be the NISMO Z.
If you have any questions about the new NISMO Z, feel free to drop a comment and I'll answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.